Joined on the channel today, Nelly Korda, absolute golfing royalty, playing your socks off at the moment, absolutely ripping it. I was looking at some of your stats. Greens in reg, I know from when we last met in Florida, you're now climbing on the LPGA, and I know that's an important number for you.
Yeah, because you know, if you hit greens, then you have more chances for birdie, and that at the end of the day, that helps everything.
Now, one thing that I did check out that I'm going to quote because I absolutely loved it, and I knew that it would mean a ton to you as well. I found this just scrolling the internet thinking, right, I want to talk about your golf clubs, but I think this is a great lead into it. And it said Nelly Korda finished the 2024 LPGA season shooting in the 60s in 63.2% of her rounds played. Then it goes on to say that is the highest single season percentage of rounds in the 60s all time by a player with 50 or more rounds that year.
Wow, I did not know that.
That is mega, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that just means, you know, you're putting yourself into contention more. And at the end of the day, that's what we're practicing for.
well, it's awesome to be around you, and you were about to tell me before the cameras were on and I stopped you.
Yes.
Greens in reg and that scoring, you can't do it unless the irons are mustard.
Yeah.
So let's start there. You got the 5 iron in the 770,
Yep.
steel fiber.
Yes.
Then you switch models
I do.
into the CB.
Yeah.
So talk to me a bit about what's going on here.
So I just like the look of the CBs more from pitching wedge to my 6 iron. I need a little bit more height when it comes to my 5 iron because, you know, when we play major championship golf courses, the greens tend to get firmer, faster.
Yeah.
So you want something with a little bit more height. So the P770 just gives me that going into the green. So I just know that even if I hit a controlled shot, it's not going to shoot on the green.
Yeah.
When it comes to just, you know, in a sense, my scoring clubs, I just like the look of this a little bit more from the top. It's a little bit thinner visually, and I hit some really good controlled shots. For me, I never go after a shot 95%. I'm always in like that 90% area, even less. So hitting these controlled shots with these CBs just makes it a lot easier for me to execute what I'm just visually wanting.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know, hitting the shot.
You spoke to me a little bit about weights. You've changed the weights and something. Do you think that's been a factor to the greens in reg and the scoring?
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at, let's say, the swing weight or the head weight, but I think my dad has influenced a lot when it comes to just the weighting of my club. I look at also the overall weight of the entire club, and that's really important for it to just match up through the entire set, because at the end of the day, the force that hits the ball, you know, you want it to be the same throughout the entire set. So if your weight is a little different through the entire set, I mean, you're not going to hit the controlled shots and the feel shots the way you envision.
Okay, so overall weight on everything has gone
Yeah, it's
up,
just like correct.
or it's staggered?
No, it's actually a lot lighter. I'm on the lighter side of everything. I mean, my shafts are 80s.
But up from where it was?
No, it went down a little. So it was just like they were just a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah.
So we just made them very consistent throughout the entire bag. But my wedges have heavier shafts in them.
95s
and then
in those.
My irons have 80s in them. And I like lighter shafts because I can feel the head swing a little bit more.
So you mentioned your dad's influence. Has that come from the tennis world?
Yeah.
So what, he was playing a certain weight in a racket and changed it through the season, or?
Yeah, he's crazy. He feels a gram in his hands.
Okay.
Like, he is so talented. His hand-eye coordination is incredible. I can't feel a gram difference, but he can feel a gram difference.
Even in golf clubs he can feel that? Wow,
yeah.
okay.
So he's
He's an anomaly.
Yeah.
You know, I've been around some hockey players who can do the same, and it's and golfers
crazy.
as well. How many swing weights do you need different to feel, do you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have not tested that. But I can definitely tell if something's a little heavier.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I can feel a gram, but I can. I think if a swing weight maybe 1 or 2, I can.
Okay, so about
probably.
4 grams probably. So you go 95s in these that you've mentioned.
Yeah.
This one is interesting, the 54.
Yes. I have it shaved down.
Yeah, and the 50.
Yes, so we shaved down the leading edge too, so then we replaced it with the lead tape on the back. I was just catching the grass a little bit too much. You know, your 54 and 58, for me, are the clubs that I use the most around the green, chipping, hitting those delicate shots. So you want something that glides through the grass properly. And it was just the leading edge was just catching the grass a little too much, so we shaved it down and then replaced the weight in the back here.
Yeah.
The 58, I have a different grind on the back, and just a little bit more bounce, so out of the bunker it performs nicely. And then when you want to hit a nice one, it sits nicely on the ground too, with kind of
the
it being
ski
shaved.
that's on the front,
yeah,
and then the C.
Correct.
So you mentioned that you came about this change in the grind from chipping, right? And you wanted the leading edge to sit lower when you chip.
Yeah, so like obviously growing up on Bermuda grass, I feel like that's where you kind of figure out what sits best.
Yeah.
It's such a hard grass to chip off of, especially, you know, if it's tight Bermuda, if it's fluffy Bermuda. There's so many different kinds of Bermudas.
Preaching to the freaking choir here,
I feel like so many people don't really realize how many different types of Bermudas there are, and having something that kind of glides through the grass to make it a tiny bit easier is so important. But like if I go, let's say, to Arizona, or I chip off of, you know, anything out on the West Coast, it's just kind of like night and day compared to chipping on the
easier or
I would never say it's easier, but it just glides through the grass a little better. You clip the ball a little bit better too, so you create a little bit more spin. I'm not a type of player that likes to change. You know, there's a bunch of players that like to change grinds or grooves for different types of grasses. I actually like my wedges a little bit worn because it takes off the spin a little bit more. I don't love the rip backs. So I like to wear out my wedges before obviously the season starts, but I don't like to, once I find the grind I like, then I play with it all season. And I want to be comfortable and confident with it.
Even going over to the Open Championship, where it's firmer, you'll still go.
The only thing I'll change there is I'll take the hybrid out and maybe replace it with a 4-iron, so I can get a little bit of a lower flight. And the thing is with like these woods is you can change them to make them fly a little bit lower, and so you don't really have to change anything out of your bag, which is nice.
On the chipping, do you live in the shallow camp or the steep camp?
No, the shallow, clipping it.
Okay, interesting. And the wedges, the lie angles, are they
3 degrees upright?
I'm gonna say they feel upright.
Yes, yeah.
Why so up?
I've tested on a lie board before, and that's just where I hit them out of the center. So obviously I play a draw too, so it was funny actually. Tiger was looking at my irons. He's like, "Geez, these are really upright." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "No wonder you hit a draw." And I was like, "So it helps my draw as well." So there's no fear of left, and it's interesting you say you test on a lie board, because I put a video out about lie boards and people hated it. But you, Nelly Korda, will test on a lie board and look at divots, right? Yes.
There you go. So that puts that one to bed. Anyone out there that commented on that video, get out of here. Thank you, Nelly. Let's go on the rescue then. Rescue 5, 25, Ventus. These are all brand new to you, right? Although this has had some shots.
Yeah, I think I've hit it a couple times. When you have something like this in your bag, you obviously want it to land high and soft. Like these are like, in a sense, you're like par 5 clubs. You want that you're hitting into par 5s, you're scoring clubs that you want to land into the green high and soft. So when you look at this, obviously you see a lot of the face, but compared to last year's, I think it looks a lot more square, and it has like a very, very nice shape to it. I'm not going to ask you to comment in depth on performance. These are 2 7-woods. I know they're brand new to you. It's interesting you're in the Ventus Black, which is it's a firm, strong tip golf shaft. Again, you like to draw it, no problem. Which one is jumping out to you as a first look when you look at the two? We've got the core and the tour in the 7-wood. What would you look for? What's going to be your test process? So I actually look at the bottom of the club, and I feel like this one's just going to sit a little flatter on the ground compared to maybe this one with less weight in the back here. Even with the 3-wood, I tend to actually drift towards the ones that have nothing going on the bottom because it just sits a little flatter on the ground.
Okay. So not flatter in lie angle, just the sole sits flat.
Yes, correct. Okay. Because I mean, for me, when I place it on the ground, I just want it to stay there. If I'm doing this, then I'm already fidgeting a little too much, and I'm not going to be as confident hitting it. I don't know. That's just like, for me, that's like a mental thing. Yeah. That's me personally.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they both look really, really nice. It's just about testing it to see, you know, which one's going to perform better. This one actually has more of a different back to it. I think it's a little longer, while this one has a smaller head.
Yeah.
If I look at it like this, I would lean more towards the bigger head. Okay. I would probably be a little bit more confident with it. And, you know, with a 7-wood, I feel like the reason why I have a stiffer shaft in this, or differently tipped, is because I feel like you're just kind of going after it a little bit more. You know that you're confident with it. You know it's going to go high, and I can just, you know, rip one with this club.
It's amazing with tour players how many of them gravitate towards the larger head on the 3-woods.
Yeah.
It was something that really changed, I think, when we had Jason Day come into these things. He was big on the larger head, and then everyone seemed to follow what he did.
Yeah.
In your 3-wood, one click towards higher at the moment. It's a HL, which means it's a 16.5.
Yes.
It's also the red, which is a bit softer in the tip. So what's the thinking there with that?
So
And were you even aware of that?
I love the 3-wood. No, shafts, not too much knowledge.
Yeah.
I need to like the look of the head.
Okay, great.
If the head performs, then I'm putting it in.
Okay.
For me, it's all about, you know, also with the 3-wood, I think it's the hardest club to hit. You hit it a lot off the tee.
Yeah.
So you have to like the height off the tee, and you have to like the height off the ground, right? Because that's what you're also hitting into greens, par 5s, same thing. Like at the end of the day, I feel like for longer players, like par 5s are such a crucial hole for us, because that's where you make the most birdies. That's where you can capitalize the most. So having woods that can perform, that come in high and soft and do what you want is very crucial. But, you know, when I put this thing on the ground, I just know that I'm going to hit it well. It sits so nicely.
Why the HL? Why the HL?
I tend to hit everything a little lower.
Okay, it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, I hit down on my balls. I think with my irons too, I like to see a lower ball flight with my driver as well. I mean, I have a 10.5 in the driver.
Yeah. That's probably why we've got a core and a max head. It's probably why you like the CGs so far back.
Yes.
Because it helps you with the height. How high do you tee your 3-wood then?
Very low.
Okay.
I do not, even with the driver, I tee it very low as well.
Okay.
It's just like, I'm kind of always in the in-between phase where I like the penetrating ball flight, but I know that I need to hit it high. So my caddy, Jason, he's always like, okay, you can hit the 3-wood, but it needs to be high and soft. I'm like, got it. Bullet. So having something like the high launch, obviously,
caddy problems.
the HL 3-wood will help me balance that out, so I don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah. Now your driver, we talked about your accuracy off the tee, it's excellent. You've got the one shape where you hit the draw. You spoke on this so well last year. We've got a max and we've got a core.
Yeah.
The heads are big, there's plenty of loft on these. You hit, we saw it in, we'll see some content hopefully from TaylorMade that comes out. Some other guys had a chance to hit your driver.
Yeah, yes.
Talk to me about what's standing out here and where you think you'll go with these, and first reaction.
I don't know, you know, they're both really, really good. I think compared to the QI10, with the core driver, I'm seeing a little less spin, which sometimes my miss is bottom of the face, and bottom of the face creates more spin. So when you're hitting into the wind or when you're under pressure, you know, if it spins more and it kind of floats out to the right, obviously then you're going to have a longer club in, and that's just never beneficial. So what I've noticed with these two heads is when I do miss hit it a little on the bottom of the face, it doesn't spin as much. The core definitely spins less than the max. When it comes to look, I really like both of them. What I really like about this driver though is actually the gray face, because when it comes to playing in different type of sunlight throughout the day, you know, the glare off of just like the shiny head, you rarely ever see the tee. And for me, alignment is super important, because as I start to play more and more, many weeks in a row, I start to actually aim a little bit more right. Those are my tendencies. So having the tee on top and knowing that like I'm very confident in where I'm aiming, and it's pointing at my intermediate target, that's one thing that I just like don't have to worry about as much with this, actually, the gray face too.
There's so much great stuff. So that's the T-bug on the top and then intermediate target and aligning that up. Now, you think you hit a little out to the right because you're a little steep maybe on driver? Is that you? Are you steep on driver as well as I am?
Yeah, I actually hit down on my driver.
How many degrees do you know?
1.5 to 1.5. I'm trying to get it to like -0.5.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean,
it's so interesting because
it's just my tendencies.
When you try and work with what the perfect player is, then like, Rory drives it great and he hits up on it.
Yeah.
But Tommy was talking yesterday, Fleetwood, about being down a little bit. You're talking about okay to be down. I think we all have to embrace that. We've got one of the best drivers of the golf ball here, down on it a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can hit it up on it. I have no issue. But I just know with my swing that the dispersion's going to be a little bigger if I try to hit up on it. And I'm all about trying to make that dispersion a little smaller.
Yeah, and know what it is, and that's probably why you aim further right, put the ball back and hit the draw more. This is quite heavy.
Yes.
That's what struck me about that. I'll let you talk about it because this has been a huge change for you.
Yeah.
And it's been a successful change.
I changed right after the Olympics. I changed just before the British Open. I find that this putter's a little bit more face balanced.
Yeah.
And I have more of a square back, square through stroke, so I don't have too much arc in my stroke. So the face balance putter just helps my stroke out a lot more because there is less arc. So I always feel like, you know, if you have to open up the face going back and you have a little bit more arc and you're really concentrating on your arc, then you have to do more work to square it up. So if you're an arc, you know, as your stroke gets longer, your arc naturally, you know, kind of goes more inside. Yes, goes more inside. I have a smaller line on this putter. I didn't love the long line because I started looking a little bit more back and then my head started leaning back. But so I just have this little one and I concentrate on the little one. And for me, it's this actually the white line coming back. That's what helps me the most with alignment. I think that's what's improved my putting the most is the alignment of this putter. It's just so much easier to line up, especially under pressure, and you just focus on your point where you want to aim it. You place it there and you know that it's, you know, that you're confident with your alignment. And then the face, like the face is where when I hit it for the first time, I was shocked with how smooth it comes off. Like every roll is so pure and it just rolls so nicely on fast, on slow. You can feel how soft it is coming off, and my distance control has improved so much since putting this in the bag actually.
So that is the aluminum, aluminium, I'll put them both in because they'll take the piss out of the insert. So that's going to be the one that actually, to your point, I mean, Nelly said it perfectly, you don't need me to repeat it, but comes off with the cleanest roll. Yeah,
and I like my I've always been a player that's liked my putter a little on the heavier side.
Yeah,
I don't like to feel, I don't want to become handsy.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I have a heavier putter, I just let the putter swing.
Yeah, awesome. TP5X golf ball is here.
Yes.
Are you not any funky numbers or anything?
No, just a one.
Just
I like
all
the one.
ones?
Yeah, one throughout the entire bag.
You've earned it, so fair enough.
Well, that's not the reason why.
Well, listen, I'm giving you for that. That's the moniker I'm going on.
Yeah.
So in that case, rather than me guess something about this beautiful head cover, talk to me a bit about the lion and what's...
Well, TaylorMade made me this logo.
Nice.
You see the N and you see the K?
I'm with it now.
Yeah.
I'm with it now.
So my initials are in the lion, and I love lions. It's, for me, I've loved them since I was a kid. And you know, it's my personal touch on the putter cover.
Fantastic. Nelly, that is such an informative what's in the bag. I think there's so much for people out there to learn from this. What would be your advice for someone going out, getting fit? Obviously the QI35, you really need to get fit for that. Very bespoke drive for your game. But what about the whole bag, or the number one thing that someone can take from this? Listen, if you're going to get new golf clubs, this is the thing to look for.
It's so important to get fit. I mean, you know, there's so much variety when it comes to shafts, when it comes to heads. I mean, everyone has a different swing. Swing your swing. Never try to swing someone else's swing. Don't be afraid to go lighter. I'm on the lighter side. Doesn't mean I don't hit it short.
Yep.
It just means that it's just what's made for your body at the end of the day. You know, you put so much torque on your body with the golf swing, so having the right set, even for that, when it comes to just not even performance but your own like health, is so important. And then at the end of the day, you just want to play better, so having the right set for yourself is going to make you perform a little better.
Fantastic. How long has it taken you to land on this current spec in your whole career? Has this been a developing thing?
Yeah, it's just constantly learning. I mean, we're always adapting, we're always learning, so the body's changing too. You know, unfortunately, we have injuries, so I think you're always kind of adapting and learning and figuring out what's best for yourself. And we play so many different types of golf courses that you're always trying to adapt to what you're playing as well.
There you have it. So it's a squad of golf clubs that can be right for your game. Nelly, thank you so much. Check everything out on Nelly Korda's stuff. It's all down in the description. That is Nelly's What's in the Bag for this season, and it is mint.